I'm Chris Myers. Welcome to the Stacker 2 pre-race show. On the starting front row today, featuring the two drivers, Jeff Burton and Jeff Green, who won the races that were run here last year. And I'm joined at the hip by my hip colleague, former crew chief Jeff Hammond.
Thank you.
I kid because I care. Let's talk about this track. Obviously, a tough track like this, a veteran's going to have an edge, but how much of an edge when we watch the race today, especially with a lot of young guns out here?
Chris, I think what you're going to see right now, the veterans know you've got to respect this place because they've been down here before and been bit by the lady. We keep referring to her as the lady. Believe me, by the end of the day, these guys will have a totally different perspective. And if you don't watch out for her, she'll take you out of the race totally.
Never want to get bit by a lady.
No.
That's always respect the lady, especially if there's a stripe involved. All right, the fourth of 34 Busch races here. He's giving me a weird look. What's caught your eye so far?
Really, believe it or not, I think Scotty Riggs has caught my eye more than anything else. Coming up from the truck division, he has been a thrill to watch. He's been a little bit out of control in a lot of the races, but he's very much an aggressive young driver, really believes he can win this championship, win races at this level, and today, he's one of those guys, he better be respecting the lady.
All right, and just as the Busch Series is a great jumping-off point for Winston Cup would-be drivers, the Truck Series can launch drivers into the Busch Series. 3 of the 4 former truck driving champions are in this race today. Hornaday, a 2-time winner. He's in for Ricky Hendrick, and you see that Mike Skinner certainly is not. Meanwhile, Jack Sprague has won it 3 times. Jack making his first Darlington start since 1993, the 3-time former champion on pit road with our Dick Bergman. Dick?
Well, thanks, Chris. He has won 23 times in that Truck Series, but never in the Busch Series. But don't count him out here today, because when the racetracks are tough, that's when this guy excels. How about it? How will you play your cards today, Jack?
Well, the biggest thing is we got to stay out of trouble. We qualified terribly. We had a miserable day yesterday, but in happy hour, the guys did a great job. Dennis did a great job. The Net-Zero Chevrolet's pretty decent. I don't know if it's decent enough to win, but it's decent enough to get up there and be near the front. So I just got to be careful, keep the fenders on, see if I can get there.
How do you get through traffic here and keep the fenders on it?
Very carefully. Everybody's sliding around. I mean, nobody's really trying to hit each other, but it's hard here. I mean, it's difficult to pass here.
Except Randy LaJoie that's pushing him around during the interview.
All right, thank you. By the way, LaJoie, it's close. Sprague, the only driver to finish in the top 10 at each of the first 3 races this season, leading 2-time champion Randy LaJoie. Following is Rockingham winner Jason Keller. And Jeff, the points race early is close. The top 4 separated by just 11 points.
And the thing is right now, Jack Sprague has won in the truck division, but old Randy LaJoie is a guy you better watch out for. He knows how to get the job done in this division. He's very, very tough.
All right, nice weather here today. Coming up, former Busch Series driver, current Winston Cup young gun Jimmie Johnson will join us here in the Hollywood Hotel as we're getting ready for Busch Racing. The countdown is on here on the Stacker 2 pre-race show, live from Darlington on FX. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Stacker 2 pre-race show.
Welcome back live here in Darlington, South Carolina. You see puffy clouds. Oh, that's what Jeannie Zelasco has to look forward to.
That's a young Darrell Waltrip.
Yeah, only the mouth's not moving. And
not crying yet, is it?
Some of the young drivers that we have been talking about, there actually will be 7 rookies here in the Busch race today in Darlington, South Carolina, back in the Hollywood Hotel with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. And let's talk about, we talked about Scott Riggs, who's really an older rookie if you look at the age brackets, but who else should we keep an eye on today?
Chris, a couple of guys that I've been noticing that I think have done a really good job as far as Casey Mears, you know, son of Roger Mears. His uncle's Rick Mears, used to drive for Penske. And then we got Shane Mill, who's also the son of Steve Mill, who was the team manager for DEI. And we do not want to forget, we're talking about DEI, Kerry Earnhardt, you know, son of the late Dale Earnhardt. He is also, I think, one of these guys that with a little more time, they are going to be forces to reckon with as we go through this season.
All right, I guess there are a number of ways to get to this point, to prep yourself. Truck Series being one of those.
Right.
But what are some of the other ways that guys can gain experience?
ASA, you know, local short tracks, any places you can get behind the wheel, whether you're a dirt racer or a midget racer, it doesn't make any difference. Experience and seat time is always valuable when you sit down and talk to these veterans. They can relate to you. Once you've driven a race car, you have an understanding of what guys are talking about when they're talking about loose, push, car darting around, no grip. These are things that drivers can talk to one another about. It's very important to have that understanding so you can get the problem fixed.
All right, Scott Riggs from Durham, North Carolina, 31 years old, not exactly a young gun, but is new to Busch Series racing, and so far so good. He has 2 top 10s and 3 Busch races. He's standing by with our Matt Yoakum. Matt?
And Chris, he's also a former Truck Series star and always fast wherever he goes. But Scott, you start forth. How tough is it to pull back the reins at a tough place like this?
And this is definitely a place that you need to pace yourself and race the racetrack. And you know, for me, being new to the Busch Series and in the Nesquik Ford this year, it's a car that always runs well. It's hard for me to slow down and try to just pace myself because I'm so hungry to try to prove myself and prove my worthiness of this opportunity. But Harold Holley does a pretty good job of pulling me back.
Now, you finished third in the Truck Series race here last year. Does that experience pay off here?
Well, I think any experience here under race conditions really pays off here. I think this is one of the racetracks that experience is probably going to definitely sort of rise to the top of it because you know what kind of groove, how the groove's going to change, and really how much room you do have out there to race with.
And another advantage that he does have, Dick Berggren, he drives the same team that won this event 1 year ago.
Well, Casey Mears doesn't have quite that advantage. He comes to the Busch Series out of rear-engine open-wheel cars. He did practice here. He did test here. He found out just how fast he could go. Bounced it off the wall. So how fast can you go today?
I think we'll be pretty good. I mean, we've been learning a lot. I'm learning a ton. I mean, Darlington is definitely a tough track, and I'm learning every time I go around this place. And I think we're going to be pretty good. Happy hour wasn't too bad. At first, I thought it was horrible. You know, I'm thinking, man, this thing doesn't grip. It's not doing anything. You know, but I started looking around me, and there wasn't a whole bunch of people passing me. So I guess they felt the same way. You know, but I'm learning a lot, like I said, and the crew and I mean, we're just getting along better and better all the time, going faster all the time, and having a lot of fun.
All right, he's a good one. Watch this kid. To Chris.
All right, thanks, Dick. And as we got to look at the stripe and the lady in black, and Jeff, let's talk a little bit more about this wall. It's not just keeping your car and sliding in. The wall kind of bends and isn't exactly even all the way
it does,
around.
Chris. And if you take a look at the way Darlington's shaped, it's shaped like an egg, and you've got to be able to run fast. You got to get close to that wall. If you look right coming off of 4, the wall actually kind of comes around. It's coming around real smooth like so, and all of a sudden, whoa, it juts out right here. And if you'll notice, there's already tire marks. Today, this is going to be one of the areas that it's really going to be bad news for a lot of drivers as they progress through this race because it's going to get slick off that corner, and they're going to get into it.
And this just over a mile and a third. And for the veterans, you know, there are 5 Winston Cup drivers in the race today, bushwhackers we like to call them, led by Jeff Burton on the pole. You had a chance to talk with him a little bit about dealing with this track and this race.
Yeah, he's actually looking at this race here as an experiment to a certain degree. He's got to sit up underneath this car that he wouldn't normally run here, but he said the car is so fast, but I'm willing to get up on the wheel, hang on to it, and see if I can win a race here with this setup. So he's willing to take a little bit of a gamble here today, and I'm kind of surprised, but I'm proud of him for doing it.
Now, he was talking to Kenny Wallace a moment ago as they're getting ready for the race, and Kenny Wallace on the eve, of course, of losing his ride as Steve Park steps in and gets ready to go in the Winston Cup race tomorrow, returning to the scene of the crime and his injury, but he says he's ready to go, and so are the people here. There's a look at Jimmy Spencer. He never forgets to race. We're counting down to the green flag, under 23 minutes to go here. Michael Waltrip in the Stacker 2 pre-race show. We'll have much more from Darlington, South Carolina. You're watching NASCAR on FX. Be back. Don't go away. As we get you ready,
Welcome back to the Stacker 2 pre-race show.
Kenny Wallace getting ready to go here in the Busch race as we continue on the Stacker 2 pre-race show. And we're getting ready for the actual start here. One of the drivers to keep an eye on is Vermont's Kevin LePage. Kevin finished in the top 10 in both Busch Series races that he's run so far this year. And he's standing by with our Dick Berggren. Dick?
And that gives him the best average finish of any Busch Series driver, Chris. Kevin LePage out here running out of his own hip pocket. We don't know how long that can last. How important is it to you to have a great finish today as you look for a sponsor, Kevin?
Well, Dick, Darlington's been very good to me in the past, both in Busch and Cup, and obviously we don't have anything on this white number 71 Ford. So we need to have a good run to be here next week at Bristol, but right now I've got the race ahead of me today, and we're going to do what we can.
All right, good luck to you. To Steve Burns.
Well, thanks, Dick. Ron Hornaday won the Craftsman Truck Series on more than one occasion, and ironically, he was a bitter rival with the Hendrick Motorsports organization. Today, he fills in for them. Ricky Hendrick was hurt at Las Vegas. Tell us about this ride, Ron.
I didn't have a problem with the Hendricks bunch. I had a problem with Jack Sprague, but awesome. I mean, it says a lot for Rick Hendrick and the whole organization. And I'm just warming a seat for Ricky, so this one's for GMAC, Ricky, and I'm going to give it to the best I can. The Chevrolet's been pretty good. That we just hopefully we got a little better from yesterday.
Good luck, Ron. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Steve, 11th in points. Andy Houston has been replaced by journeyman driver and New York native Todd Bodine. Todd, back in another new mount. How is the communication going between yourself and Tony Liberati? Can you guys put this car in victory lane today?
I think we got a good shot at it. You know, me and Tony have really struck it off pretty good here. When we came down and tested, the communication was really good. We picked right up. You know, we've known each other for a long time, so that that was half the battle. You know, Tony's really sharp. He's got a great crew, built good race cars, you know, and hopefully the experience I can bring to the team will make a difference. This Excedrin Chevrolet run really good in happy hour. You know, the thing about Darlington is you got to be there at the end. You got to stay out of trouble. The car with the best balance is going to be the one at the front. I think we got a good balanced car.
He starts 23rd, looking for his 14th career Busch Series victory. Chris?
All right, as we get ready to enjoy the race from up here, of course, Jimmie Johnson, I asked you during the break about how you did at this track. You said you don't really remember, but you wrecked a lot. It was that challenging.
Absolutely. You know, I really enjoy this racetrack. I've had a great time here racing. It just seems like the last 15, 20 laps, there's usually a caution. Everybody, you know, has got new tires usually, or there's all this excitement going on, and before you know it, you're in the fence. So. Right. Part of it.
Well,
but like I said, I've got a present for you.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. What's that?
So everybody can see here's Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse, Lowe's credit card, and my race car shoots across on the screen. I don't know if you can see it.
That's nice.
It's out in the stores now, and I want to make sure I've got...
So I can actually charge with this?
Yeah, you're going to have to pay for it.
Oh, I thought you were going to cover the bill.
Nice enough to bring you the car.
Oh, Haven's already got his.
All right. I already got
mine. Good. I'll buy a lot of equipment.
Don't let DW know. We're not giving DW one for a while.
No freebies for him. Hey, real quick, just when you watch a Busch race, even now, removed from the Busch Series, what do you look for?
I just hope to see that 92 car running up front, that Excedrin group, the Herzog Motorsports group, great bunch of guys, and I just want to see that car up front, and hopefully Todd will give that thing a good ride.
All right, Jimmie Johnson, of course, will be up here with Jeff and I to keep an eye on the race. Thanks for watching the Stacker 2 pre-race show. Jeff Burton, of course, on the pole. Stay tuned to find out if he can conquer the track they say too tough to tame. Busch Series Racing on FX from Darlington.
The Stacker 2 pre-race show to Darlington today on FX, the NASCAR Busch Series in the Darlington.com 200. Drivers are at the ready. Let's go trackside for the most important words in all of auto racing.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, with the most exciting words in the world of motorsports, our honorary starter and Grand Marshal Captain Susan Walters of the United States Navy.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The cars are running and we're ready to go with NASCAR on FX. Hi everybody, Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip. 200 miles for the Busch drivers, and why are we smiling? This is going to be an action-packed race, and Larry, resource management for these teams.
This place will drive a crew chief crazy, besides putting the right springs and shocks. 147 laps, 200 miles, 3 sets of tires used under caution. Unlike in the Winston Cup race tomorrow, every time that caution flag waves, those guys will be throwing fresh tires. As a crew chief, you have to make sure you put those tires on when the timing's right. Don't end up with a set left over, but don't end up without tires at the end.
No, but you know, I think the good thing for the drivers that are running both races today and tomorrow, you get used to driving on worn-out tires or on used tires, and I think that could pay off big dividends for tomorrow's race. So these double dippers, as we call them, I think today, more than maybe any other race I know of, they're going to learn a lot that'll help them tomorrow.
A narrow, somewhat treacherous old racetrack, 50 years old plus, Darlington Raceway. They'll be slipping and sliding here when they wave the green flag. We'll have a starting lineup for you next. Welcome back to NASCAR's most storied super speedway, where the last 5 Busch Series races here have all been won by a margin of less than 1 second. Today, it's the DarlingtonRaceway.com 200 for the NASCAR Busch Series. Let's have a look at our Castrol starting grid. Jeff Burton and Jeff Green up on the front row.
Jeff Burton won this race twice.
Teammates in row 2, Riggs and Keller. Kenny Wallace, Greg Biffle up from the Truck Series. Lyndon Amick from out of the Dash Series. Mike McLaughlin from the Modified Series. ASA's Tony Raines, Jenny McMurray there. There's the top 10. Have a look back through the grid. Patience, patience, Darrell.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I always say. Lord, give me patience. And give it to me now.
Yeah.
Brandon LaJoy, he won this race back in '97, second to points, and he was happy with his race car from final practice yesterday.
Got a car stopped over on the back straightaway. I'm not sure what he's doing, but again, he's been sitting there quite a while. I don't know if he's got a problem or not. If he was checking his wheel, normally the guys will stop and center up their steering wheel, but this looks more.
Yeah, that's Kevin Grubb.
This looks worse than that.
He's been there much longer than it would take to move that steering wheel.
Yeah, so something going on, ignition or some failure. We got one to go, so I don't think that's, well, I don't know, the wrecker might be able to get him out of the way in time.
Boy, that's got to be a bad feeling. You come here, you practice, you qualify, and don't even get to take the green flag.
And you know, it's incredible how many times you crank the car, run it in the garage, you roll it through inspection, you put it on the line, something happens to it.
Racing gremlins.
Where did that come from?
Kevin Grubb replaced Kelly Denton in that car at beginning Las Vegas race. Dick Berggren.
Well, you've heard a lot about how rough this racetrack is. Here is part of the reason why. This morning I went into Greg Biffle's fender well and pulled out stones and rubber. These stones are embedded in the surface of this racetrack. They tear at the rubber. They build up inside and outside the groove. Any driver who gets into them gets into the wall next. To Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Jeff Green won a championship with the PPC team in 2000, was second last year, but they've got a rookie driver, Scott Riggs. They came and tested here in January. Crew Chief Harold Holly put a very conservative setup on the car to see what kind of feedback Scott Riggs could give him. By lunchtime, they're running near the track record. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, teams are not using restrictor plates here at Darlington, but one driver, Shane Meal, is using a mental restrictor plate, meaning his father and spotter, Steve Meal, told him to run at only 80% of what he feels like he's capable of. You're a good race driver, he told him. Today proved that you're a smart one. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. They've added a pace lap for Kevin Grubb. They have gotten him restarted. So he'll pull into line and we'll get one to go.
He'll probably, I think they'll make him start at the rear, won't they, Larry? Because he stopped over there.
Yeah.
43 cars in today's race. They'll have to pit every 70 to 75 laps.
But that would be for fuel. You want to pit about every 40 or 50 laps per tire. But should it be a green flag caution-free race, which we don't anticipate, you could do it on one stop.
I don't know that I've seen any in the Busch Series. I don't know if I've seen any green flag pit stop.
But you know, this race in the middle, when everybody kind of figures out I need to just race this place and not my competitors, it's known for some long green runs in the middle of the race.
Well, you just get to the point where you can't race. You know, you can't, your car just doesn't handle good enough to race anybody, and the smart guys just kind of fall in line and wait till they can make adjustments. And then there's the others. And those are the ones that the lady gets.
The ones where the wall does the adjusting.
That's it.
I look through our onboard cameras, 7 of them today. Down into turn 3. And next time by, we'll look for the green flag.
Hey, Larry, you don't see anybody scuffing their tires around, do you? It's a no, don't even think about it.
Trust me, they're going to get scuffed enough before they get to turn 1.
Now, when we go green and they stay out on the set, they'll have to clean this debris off of it. But coming to get the green, I want to see that paper on there if I can.
Speaking of getting green, the pace car's off. DW pulling belts tight. Let's get this party started.
That's it, buddy. They're going to come down, take the green. Hold them, hold them, hold them. Green, green, green. Go, go, go.
And it's Jeff Green trying to wrest the lead from Jeff Burton.
No, he's not in the preferred position there off of turn 2. That inside is usually pretty good off of 2.
As I walked through the garage this morning, talked to all the different competitors, just like Las Vegas, everybody pointed toward that green and orange number 9 car. That's the man to beat.
Old pork chop. I think they call the car something different. That's old pork chop.
Tony Raines just got nudged up against the turn 1 and 2 wall by Mike McLaughlin, but no big damage on either one. They continue running in 8th and 9th position, and things go single file here in a hurry.
But right now is when you got to pounce. Right now is when you got to go. Your tires are good, and you got these guys all bunched up here around you. You got to be careful, but you got to go. This is when you get by a bunch of folks right now.
It's Randy LaJoie down on the inside. Now drops a line behind 37, Jeff Purvis.
Todd Bodine in that 92 car giving that first ride. Got those left side wheels below that apron. That don't really work over there in turn 2.
No, he didn't. He was out of position. He just made a run underneath of Randy, but he couldn't make the pass. What you'll see going down here into turn 1 when we get down here is what I call the crossover move. And I guess the crossover move probably started here 20 years ago. That's when the guy runs in the corner a little hard, and then you just turn and drive under him and take his line away through the center of the corner. It's a good place to pass. It's relatively safe as long as the guy will give you a little room.
Jason Keller in that 57 car underneath Jeff Green in the 21 car through 3 and 4. Jason had been working the high side, decided to go to the bottom side, see if he could take this position. Jeff Green did exactly what he should do, give and take this early in the race.
You cannot race off into turn 1 side by side. Not wise, not now anyway. Let that guy go. He got the position on you.
That's second place. Here comes Jimmy Spencer against Stacy Compton. Spencer in the 1. Clears Compton out of turn 2.
Talked to Jimmy Spencer and Mark Reno, his crew chief, this morning. They felt pretty good about their car yesterday, but watching the practice speeds of other cars, in particular Jeff Burton, Jimmy said, we're not good enough to win the race. We're going to make some major changes. We're going to change the gear. We're going to change a few springs and a few shocks.
I believe old Spence will get after it. He likes this racetrack.
He likes his car. This is the car that he won at Dover with last year.
Easier to tell us what they didn't change.
Exactly. That's kind of what I looked at Mark and said.
On board Johnny Sauter in 14th. Stacy Compton just ahead. And Jason Keller starting to reel in Jeff Burton.
Well, that team runs awful well here, that 57 team, along with the 10 car.
You would expect Jason to run well here. This is the same car he won with in Rockingham, and Darrell, Rockingham and Darlington are very similar to each other.
Spencer picked up another spot. He and Stacy Compton keep moving toward the front as we watch first and second. Keller the low line, Burton the high line there. And trouble for Joe Buford out of Nashville. Had a look under the hood for a possible leak. Send it back out.
Right now, Jason Keller, he's about a half a tenth a lap faster than Jeff Burton. Boy, it'd be something if Jason Keller could take the lead. 17 races here at Darlington, has never led a lap.
Really?
Never led a lap. You gonna make fun of my notes again, D-Day?
Got more notes than I know. I never saw so many notes. Got a note on every car here.
Spencer still coming, and right back behind them, Johnny Sauter makes the move past Mark Green.
Talked to Will Lynn, the team manager for Johnny Sauter's car this morning. Will said the hardest thing we're struggling with here.
Take care of your tires.
There you hear it. We'll hear that all weekend long. Take care of your tires. But Will Lynn said the hardest thing Johnny Sauter has had to adjust to is realizing that laps here and experience is what gets you better at this racetrack.
Yeah, you need to be able to run the whole 200 miles. Go home and figure out what you did right, figure out what you did wrong. And that's how you get better. Doesn't do you any good to come to a track like this, difficult racetrack, crash early, didn't learn anything, may as well not been here.
You ride with Randy LaJoy as he puts the move to Mark Green. That's for 18th.
But he was so low coming off turn 2, he lost momentum. He's about to lose another position to Todd Bodine in the 92 on the high side of him. You have to let that thing come off turn 2 and get right up against that wall. Keep that momentum up. It'll go up there and just almost scrape that wall just a little bit.
Well, as we saw, the wall actually swerves out into the racetrack. You kind of come off there and all of a sudden, where'd that come from?
Use all of this racetrack all the way around it.
Yes, sir. You can see these guys are covered. Too wide is pretty much all you can stand here. And that doesn't last long.
There was concern on Dan Pardis that yellow number 32, and he might have brushed the wall. Casey Mears did earlier, the 66.
Almost looked like Sprague had some damage on his right front, too.
There it is, turn 1. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
You can't go in there side by side.
Well, no, and it takes a few times in there like that and making it to learn that.
Brian Vickers gets through in the 40. Sprague follows him. Now you're riding with Casey Mears. We've completed 11 laps of 147 here at Darlington. This is NASCAR on FX. Welcome back to Darlington. Jeff Burton leading Jason Keller, Jeff Green, Scott Riggs, and Greg Biffle. Here is Casey Mears, who got into a couple of different bump and runs, and now it's Scott in the left rear.
Yeah, it's going to cost him at least a couple of laps. That's a shame because he came down here and tested. Let's listen to his radio here.
Coming outside. You got a flat? Pin 4, got a flat. Guys, he's in turn 2. Come on down. Cars, guys, 4 cars.
It's all the way at the bottom of the racetrack, this debris. Nobody could get into it because this racetrack is so wide and you don't even race on 2/3 of it. But Casey Mears, before he came here and tested, he actually played the NASCAR Darlington game on his Xbox computer, and he said, you know what, after I tested, the racetrack is much more exciting than the game.
Well, the game doesn't throw you up against that wall.
That wall, it don't reach out and get you like it does here in real life.
Yeah, and you can call timeout on the game.
Yeah, right.
Cut the computer off.
You can't do that. A lot of these racetracks are easy. A lot of them are fun. That's what I'm telling you. You go out here and say, oh, I like this place, but wait till you get in competition before you make that statement.
Jeff Green riding in 3rd spot. He's about 3.5 seconds behind Jason Keller. Steve?
And he's not very happy about that race car right now, Mike. He said that the car is loose in and off the corner. Now, his crew chief, Butch Hilton, is trying to sell him on the fact that that's a good thing right now. We'll look at it later in the run. When they do come into pit, they'll adjust with air pressure and make a wedge adjustment.
2 cars have pounded the wall with the right side and had to make pit stops. Mike Laughlin Jr. And Dwayne Light have, I mean, they've really pancaked.
Off of turn 2 over there, there's not hardly a lap that goes by that somebody doesn't hit that wall over there.
We look at Scott Riggs in the pin car, you'll see that little Darlington stripe down the right side of his car next time we see it. Steve Burns.
Hey, Larry, Scott Riggs may be a rookie in this series, but he's a cool customer. The spotter said, hey, you hit the wall pretty hard. You want to check the toe out? He said, nah, it's no problem. I just knocked it with the rear.
Just kept going.
I tell you, he is a feisty little guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Here's Mike Laughlin Jr. And the right side of that car is just as flat as can be.
Well, he was coming off of turn 2 over there, and the 94 car got down under him and just shoved him right up into the outside wall. He bounced off and brought on in the pit.
There's 94. That's Derek Cope.
You know, a guy that qualified 28th here, got his first top 10 finish at Rockingham a few weeks ago. He qualified 28th. He had to go all the way to the back of the field because in happy hour yesterday he had an engine problem. But the same thing happened to him. They had to change that engine. He had to go to the rear of the field. But he's marching his way forward. I talked to his crew chief, John Wolf, this morning. Said they were happy with the car. And he's all the way up to the 32nd position. It just takes a while. You have to take one car at a time trying to march through this field.
We just have to be so careful. And even when you got a chance to pass, you got to be sure that you can make the pass.
Just in front of him, that white car is Butch Miller, who's back, the former ASA champ, making his first Busch Series start since he finished 9th at Raceway Park in Indianapolis in August of 1999.
He's a former ASA champion, and nice to see Butch down here racing with us.
Larry Foyt looking for a way around.
He's from the Dick Trickle School, and Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, all those guys. Butch, Mike Miller, Mike Eddy.
A lot of great race car drivers.
A lot of good guys.
23 laps complete for Fords in the first 5. We'll be back to Darlington right after this. This is NASCAR on FX. Caution is out for a turn 1 crash between Dwayne Like and Lyndon Amick. Matt?
Mike, Greg Biffle's already in. He said his car was tight. So they made an air pressure adjustment on the 60 cars. The 48 already serviced, and he's already by the 60 to Steve.
Well, Scott Riggs had the opposite problem. He was loose, Matt. 21 of Jeff Green is in also. 4 tires for him. Scott Riggs, they went down a half turn of wedge and air pressure. Dick Berggren.
Jeff Burton has come and gone. He was tight in 3 of the 4 turns here at Darlington. They took a little bit of wedge out of the right rear, and that's it. Into the right rear. Let's get that right. Into the right rear.
Lyndon Amick was running in about 6th place when he got tangled up with a lapped car down in turn 1.
Qualified 8th, just having a great day, and just was marching forward. Goes to the bottom of Dwayne Like there, the 81 car. And the car just carried up the racetrack right there. Just momentum shoots you up the racetrack.
But Kenny Wallace just snuck through there.
It's such a trap. I mean, you get a run on a guy right there, and you think, man, if I can just get by him, and all of a sudden you lose grip, into him you go.
Well, the 16 car, Chad Chafin, just came by, and I just barely missed hitting him while he was at the bottom of the racetrack.
This is a self-cleaning track. They'll usually go right down the hill right there.
It's going off into turn 1. You roll out of the throttle. You're picking the throttle up right there in the middle. And momentum just shot him up the racetrack.
Just ran over.
Now, both cars did return to the pit, but Amic's problem is going to be that NASCAR won't let him go back on the track without a rear spoiler. And that deck lid and spoiler are junk.
I think he's going to need a lot more than that.
Dwayne Like is able to return to competition, so we're under the first caution of the day at lap 27. We're back for the restart. Jeff Burton out in front of Jason Keller, his teammate Scott Riggs, Jeff Green, and Kenny Wallace, who you saw slipping through that accident scene.
Just to keep everybody updated on the pit strategy, pretty much all the leaders were on pit road. I know we talked about some of them. No 2-tire changes here. Everybody 4 tires.
All 4 tires, and that was a timely caution for a bunch of guys at the rear of the field because Burton was about ready to put them a lap down.
Now all the leaders just have 2 sets of tires to change under caution.
They can change all they want to under green. They don't count against you, but under caution is when you count them. So if you make a green flag stop, it doesn't count against your allotment.
Well, we got a battle here for about 20 feet.
You see Spencer just drill a hole right there in that top lane where none existed.
He's really running that low line. He was running real low in 1 and 2 down there, and he did the same thing in 3 and 4. Then he just shot right up in that open. Here he comes off the 2 right there. They're going to run a little biffle. Getting off the bottom of the racetrack really well right now.
And you can't do that on fresh tires.
Fresh tires.
Slip sliding away.
You just have to be so careful. This is when you kill the fresh tires. Right here trying to get clear lap traffic and race each other, and you'll pay the price 30, 40 laps into a run.
See, Spencer is one of those kind of drivers that he likes a Darlington stripe. He wants it on his car. It's like that commercial where guy gets pulled over and says, "You sure I wasn't doing 195?"
Yeah, right. That's the way.
That's the way Spencer is. You sure I didn't hit that wall?
All right, Jason Keller's closed it right back up on race leader Jeff Burton. Let's go to Keller's pit. Dick Berggren.
He came in on that round of pit stops running second. He came out running second. Very minor changes in the car. Greg Pollock, the car owner, said it's a half of this and a half of that. The car is great. Steve Burton.
Well, Dick, Jeff Green was battling on loose condition. They put a round of wedge in the left rear, went down on air pressure. 4 tires of gas. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, great pit service for Kenny Wallace in the 48. His team got him out 1 position better, now 5th. They took a half a pound out of the right front tire. But the biggest concern, though, is the water temperature. They pulled a piece of tape off the grill trying to get more air in to cool off that race car. The water had climbed DW to 245 degrees.
Yeah, that's what happens here. Start the race, haven't been in a lot of traffic, get a little sand, dirt on the grill, got too much tape. First thing you know, she's spitting water out.
Well, and what really happens is track eats these tires so bad that the tire rubber off the tires on the racetrack goes up there and clogs the front end, opens up.
Jamie McMurray got nerfed up into the turn 2 wall, but continues without incident. I don't know why I even talk about this casual contact, because it's happening all around the racetrack. There's no way we can possibly show it all.
Well, you know, back in the old days, they put a plate inside the right door so the driver could use the guardrail then and the wall now to just slide along to hold him in position.
Yeah, he was running in the 12th position. He went all the way back to about 18th just in that little episode over there in turn 2.
Jimmy Spencer keeps moving up. He got underneath Greg Biffle, has moved up to 6th.
Yeah, they made some adjustments on Jimmy's car on that stop, and it really has helped it.
And in fact, he's catching up to leaders. We may get our first example here of NASCAR's new rule in dealing with pit road speeds. Remember when Sterling Marlin was not, they didn't penalize him at the time. He went on to win the race, and NASCAR decided to revise their pit road penalties. So now if you're too fast entering or leaving, you have to do what Dwayne Like is doing right now. A pass down pit road at pit road speed.
Which is 45 miles an hour.
And therein lies the problem. Running that whole pit lane at pit road speed.
But
it takes forever.
The penalty before this rule change, if you were caught speeding coming in, we have caution on the speedway as well.
Well, nobody hit anything very hard. debris in the fourth corner.
That's just some parts that are flying off of somebody's car.
But just to put a period on this rule, before, if you were speeding coming into pit road, after your pit stop was complete, they would hold you for 15 seconds in your pit box and then let you leave. If you were caught speeding leaving your pit box, you had to come back in for a stop and go. What I like about this rule, it has evened out the penalty for either speeding coming in or leaving.
What I don't like about this rule is a car going down pit lane
without stopping,
without having to
just
stop.
Passing through.
You got to tell everybody. I mean, you need to tell every team, hey, we got a car going to be casually driving through next time by.
I think it's pretty safe to say we've only ran about 7 or 8 laps on this set of tires. Everybody will be staying out. Dick Berggren, how about it?
Yeah, that's what we're going to hear down here on pit road as crew chiefs are talking to drivers. They're all telling them stay out, stay out. Now, they'd love to get new tires on the car, but the problem is that there is a limit of just 3 sets of tires under caution. You can take as many as you want under green, but only 3 sets under caution. So this is a matter of conserving the inventory for the end of the race.
Jack Sprague's crew did not get that message. He's coming in, and there's tires up on the wall for Jimmy Spencer as well. So we'll see how the strategy plays out here at Darlington when we come back.
Welcome back live in Darlington Tuesday on FX. It's the cop thriller that everybody's talking about, and the critics are calling the best new drama, The Shield, the controversial new series starring Michael Chiklis and CCH Pounder. Tuesday at 10, only on FX. Back in the Hollywood Hotel with Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Hammond. You could use a shield, at least on your car. The way everybody's hitting the wall, we know about the stripe, Jimmy. But what did Elliott Sadler tell you about trying to guard against that?
Yeah, I heard Larry talking about people putting a 4x4 there on the right side of the car up against the door bars to keep damage happening to the right front tire and the right rear wheel. Elliott Sadler has a 4x4 in the side of his car, outside of the door bars, underneath the sheet metal, so that he doesn't have any damage there. And he said he hit the wall about 6 times last time here, and the rear end housing wasn't even bent. So it's kind of a primitive way to make things work.
It's not primitive. It's the way it's been done here for a long time. Back in the Junior Johnson days, Richard Petty and a lot of the old teams, especially the Woodses, they used to run leaf springs a lot of times, fold them up inside the quarter panels in the door area to keep the sheet metal off the tires, and that way when you did hit the wall, because that is the fastest way around this racetrack. Folks, do not think these drivers can't drive. It's just the racetrack. It's the way it's always been. If you're going to be fast here, you're going to touch the wall a little bit.
All right, let's get on to Steve Burns, who is trackside.
Yeah, Chris, a pretty big news story here in the Busch Series. Driver Chad Little and the Base Motorsports team ceased operations. They say they're going Winston Cup racing in California. Chad, tell us why you guys are making the move.
The timing, you could always argue it would have been better, obviously, about 6 months earlier, but sponsorship-wise, the main reason, that we're talking to several sponsors, and there's just this strong indication has been that the money that you're talking to run the Busch Series is so much closer to what it is to run the Cup Series now than it's ever been. The sponsor's interest is there. So more than anything else, the purses are our main reason, but it's dictated by the sponsors. We feel we'll have better luck finding a sponsor in the Cup Series than we will in the Busch Series.
Chad, we'll see you in California, April 28th. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, Jack Sprague did make a couple of pit stops during the caution. Jimmy Spencer, that was a fake him out deal. They put tires up on the wall and did not come in, but there's damage to the right front of Sprague's car from some of that casual contact we've talked about. And he leads the Busch Series points, but he's going to be well back on this restart.
30th in position right now, long way back to the front.
Green flag.
Especially when you got Jeff Burton up front there leading the race and running some pretty fast lap times. He's going to come around in a hurry.
Got a couple of lap cars up there for the leaders to contend with. First and second place cleared Scott Riggs, and a 10th, third place, he clears it.
Boy, Spencer's on a mission. He all but pushed Kenny Wallace out of turn 2 there. Just kind of peeking that orange nose out from underneath Wallace. What do you say we crank it up for a bit?
All right. Strap those TVs down and let's go.
43 laps complete. Jeff Burton in command. Larry Foyt makes a green flag pit stop, and Dan Cardis on his stop had a 15-second penalty for crew going over the wall too soon. Our points leader Jack Sprague, that car still runs at the back of the pack and kind of off the pace, Matt.
Mike, he restarted in the 30th position. We'll check in with Dennis Connors. Dennis, how bad's your race car hurt?
Aerodynamically, net zero cars hurt pretty bad. We were really good in the last practice yesterday, but unfortunately, by the time we got to the start-finish line to start the race, we didn't have a right front fender. If we can stay on the lead lap and keep working on it, we might get all right.
Well, they made 2 stops under that caution, just trying to repair that 24 car, Mike.
Sprague 16th at Daytona, 7th at Rockingham, and 18th at Las Vegas.
And you know, Mike, you think about Jeff Gordon a couple of times last year. I remember him bending up his right front fender. That is a very crucial fender on the car because that can make the car really, really tight or really, really loose, depending on if they get it fixed back right or not.
It's really, really tight, Darrell, as his battle for 3rd place. Scott Riggs, Jeff Green, and you're watching from Kenny Wallace's view.
Clear all around, Herman. Clear all around.
Herman.
Kenny Wallace.
Yeah.
and I can't tell you, you got to really be on your toes when you run that close together here because if that guy in the front, just like right here now, something's got to give.
Clear all around, Herman. Clear all around.
And what you'll see is that 10 car lost all of his momentum. That allows Kenny to close up. That turn 2 is really, really where you got to be careful, make the passes.
Have a look to his left. Kenny's under pressure from Spencer.
He has company on the low side.
Go down the bottom, still there.
Spencer's running. I like the line he's running, and with your car, get down there and dig and work, and you can run fast. That's a good place to race.
But it's just hard to close the pass out on the bottom of the racetrack off the exit of turn.
Oh, no, not for Spencer. He just slide up in front of him.
Because 8 wheels is better.
Or slide up into him, whichever one.
Craig Biffle has joined that race for 3rd place. Now you're riding with Biffle.
5th in the points. This is the car that he won his first Busch Series race with last year at Nashville. He's another guy that'll be at Fontana, California in about a month running a Winston Cup race.
Let me tell you, those guys are slipping and sliding all over the place. Kenny Wallace, Spencer, they're just sideways off the corner. Slideways. It ain't even slideways.
It's a controlled slide sometimes.
Stay in it and see how you 10 lost a little momentum off of 2 there.
Now, if you don't hit the wall, it was a controlled slide, right?
If you do, it's a oops.
How about Ron Hornaday? He is up to 14th place. Hornaday started 31st. He's in relief of Ricky Hendrick, who had a separated shoulder and ligament damage. Ricky is here recovering, and so here's Hornaday in the car. Imagine Hornaday and Jack Sprague are teammates. Who would have thought that would ever happen?
Never would have believed it. I believe Matt Yoakum has more.
Well, Larry, you can see by the graphic how Ron Hornaday has marched slowly up to the front, now up to 14th. He came in 23rd when he made his last pit stop. He said the car was just too tight, so they made an air pressure adjustment, took 1 pound out of the left rear.
Well, they may have only made a 1 pound air adjustment on that pit stop. That was another car this morning when I walked through the garage here. They were very unhappy after yesterday's practice. It'd be easier to tell you what they didn't change. They changed the whole race car this morning.
Oh, we ride with Stacy Compton right up on the back of Scott Riggs.
And Riggs is struggling right now. He's having trouble getting off the corners.
Ooh, I think that was contact.
Yeah, he could have gotten it. I think when the car gets up alongside it, he's coming off the 2. There's not enough room for 2 cars over there.
Scott Riggs' car, it looks like every time he tried to put the throttle down, the rear was wanting to come out from under.
Well, what I noticed about him is he is driving the car into the corner so hard that it takes off and just slides up, and he has to wait so long to get back in the throttle. People are getting under him.
Steve?
DW, you're exactly right. Crew Chief Harold Holly is asking him to take it easy going into the corners. They did make a chassis adjustment, a wedge adjustment, a half turn on the last stop, but it just hasn't fixed the problem. He said he can't get back on the gas.
I believe telling Scott Riggs to drive it easy is like telling a mad dog not to bark.
Yeah. For that boy, easy is 3/4 throttle.
And I don't know if you can see his right front fender or not, but he's got it shoved in pretty good there where he's been up against the fence. You know, everywhere we go, we talk about aerodynamics. Throw that out the window here.
Especially flat sides.
Well, we saw Ted Musgrave yesterday win the truck race with no left front fender.
Well, it's more like wallow dynamics here. Well, Jeff Burton has a lead of 0.8 of a second. Remember, the last 5 Busch races here have all been decided by less than 1 second. So Burton out in front of Jason Keller by just that margin. Welcome back to Darlington. Here comes your leader, Jeff Burton, right there. This is the no zone at Darlington, right there. Reach out and touch someone. That's what that wall does to you right there at turn 2.
We could watch this, that camera right there all day. If we watch that long enough, you can count everybody that hits the wall, because that's where they hit it at.
You're carrying so much speed as you come out of turn 2 right there, and it just throws you up against the wall.
11th place, Johnny Sauter moving up.
I noticed he went in under him, got the position, and then nailed the throttle, slid up in front of him, and took the position away. 10 car's really struggling right now, Larry. He just looks like he's really loose off the corner. Gets in good. The car really goes in hard. He drives it real hard into the turn, but he can't get off.
Just can't put that throttle down and stay in it. Have to drive it with that throttle as much as that steering wheel.
Randy LaJoie moving underneath Todd Bodine. Dick Berggren.
24-year-old Lyndon Amick started 8th, crashed, came here behind pit wall, sat for the longest time with his helmet and his seatbelts on, even while nobody was working on the car. He wanted to go even if the car didn't. What happened out there, Lyndon?
We just had a great car running into the top 5, top 10, and I didn't want to be on the outside going into turn 1, and I want to get up under that lap car and just got together. It's more my fault. I'm driving the car, you know. I just hate it for Dr. Pepper. You know, I can't describe how down this can make you feel when you got a car like we had, but we just have to do it again next week.
We'll see you then. Steve Burns.
Thanks, Dick. We're with Wes Ward, crew chief for Mark Green. Now, Wes, you guys have slid back a little bit. What's Mark saying about the car?
Well, I couldn't really hear you there, but we kind of gambled. We started out kind of loose off, really a whole lot loose off, and we were a little snuggy. And Larry, I guess as you know, there ain't a whole lot I can do off from that tied in, especially, you know, the track bar's all the way down now. So we're not really struggling. We're just not where we want to be. The car's extremely loose right now. Mark's doing a good job. This fourth quarter, it's pretty good. We'll be all right. Get a couple more adjustments, and we'll be fine.
All right, thanks, Wes. And Wes Ward was Jeff Green's crew chief when Jeff won his very first Busch Series race in 1997.
You got a couple of old guns here. Randy LaJoie and Todd Bodine. They raced together in modifieds. They raced together in the Busch Series, and now they're trying to run down Scott Riggs.
Yeah, and Riggs has got his hands full. He has been in the wall. He's bounced off the wall. Watch this right here. He goes into turn 3 and 4. He just carries it in real hard, and bam, 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 bam. And that, my friends, is a Darlington strike. And the way he's going to have a whole lot more. Whoa. Oh, the whole right side is just about worn out.
Yeah, that's the new stripe, the modern day stripe. The old stripe, Darrell, you wanted to try to get it because that meant you was using that racetrack gun coming off turn 2. Go out there and just kind of kiss that wall just a little bit with that right rear quarter pad. That was an intended stripe.
Tell you what I'd be worried about on his car. I see no smoke from the tires, but he's got that sheet metal big down pretty close to the tires.
Todd had to check up, and LaJoie got past him.
That's what happens here. It's about momentum. If you come off the corner, got to lift up out of the throttle, the guy behind you zooms past you.
It's normally you beat people off the corner here. You don't necessarily beat them getting into the corner.
You leave the arrow and loosen the casting. 10-4.
Meanwhile,
back at the ranch,
Mr. Sunday driver, Jeff Burton.
He's in a league of his own. It ain't the Busch league either.
It's Jeff Purvis.
I think he had a little help getting up into the turn 2 wall, and now he has a whole lot of aerodynamic inefficiency.
Back in about a 38.
Yeah, part of it is sticking up over the top of the car.
That explains it. The spotter said that Mark Green got in the back of it.
We stay under green flag, no caution.
Caution.
Their caution is out.
Mark Green is
Stay on the track. Come on around.
Mark Green is right behind him right now. I don't think he wants to get up the side of him. I think he's kind of laying back.
Here's a look at it.
Well, it's all about getting into turn 1 here, and you can't go in like that right there. Get on the outside. The guy on the outside really should give the guy on the inside the right of way.
Well, when he put his left wheels down on the flat, I mean,
look at that tailpipes. There's the tailpipes off of somebody's car.
When Mark Green put his left tires down on the flat, was he all but guaranteed of sliding back up the racetrack?
Well, that's what happens, and that's why the guy on the outside, you got to know that's going to happen. There's not enough room there for you going that corner side by side. better off to back off, give that guy on the inside the position, and then put the crossover move on him. Go right back under him. That's smart racing.
So the debris down in turn 1 from that is the reason for the caution flag.
.38 car that got into Purvis has got quite a bit of damage on his right side as well. You can see he got a flat tire.
It's been about 35 laps since we pitted all our leaders. They are on pit road.
Watch this thing. Watch this. I was looking right at the tailpipe. Just flies straight up in the air.
All right. Well, remember, we saw him hit the wall a while ago on the right side. These were what we call right side exhaust pipes. They go out the right side of the car. I'm sure the pipes hit the wall too and broke the brackets.
Tore it loose. Yeah.
4 tires for everybody.
Boy, now I tell you what's going to be bad about that is he's going to have to. That's no tailpipes now. All that heat and fumes going to be coming up in the car.
Matt.
Well, the 48 is in, Mike. He told us through, don't loosen me up too much. They were talking about a chassis adjustment. I haven't seen the wrench go in the back window yet. And they were also talking about an air pressure adjustment for Kenny Wallace. To Steve.
Well, Matt, Jeff Green's been fighting loose all day. They're going to make a track bar adjustment to try and correct that. Jackman P.J. Bryant gets the jack underneath. Left side tires going on. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Burton has been leading this race since the drop of the green flag. They just try to loosen his car up. The guy who's been running second all day, Jason Keller, has the opposite problem. He's been a little bit looser. They tried to tighten it up.
I don't believe I've ever been to Darlington where my driver, when the caution came out, said, don't make an adjustment on my car. I'm good to go.
Yeah, right.
Everybody makes adjustments.
We didn't see Kerry Earnhardt hit the wall, but he got a big piece of it with the right side of his car as well. In fact, it'd be easier to tell you which cars have not flattened out the right side. We're under caution at 66 laps at Darlington. Welcome back to Darlington. Cleaning up from this caution, there's a tire inner liner and a big piece of exhaust pipe. And it's hot, too.
That is, hot.
Yeah.
Give me that. I don't know if you can dig. I don't know if you can shovel that up or not.
It's a big piece of debris.
This are tailpipes, no mufflers, just straight tailpipes just to get the exhaust out from under the car. And as you said, Darrell, he's going to have a lot of fumes up in there.
Oh, yeah, a lot of fumes and a lot of heat because now those headers are right under his feet.
Third caution flag of the day now complete. Getting ready for green flag racing. Here we go.
78 laps to go, boys. You only got one more set of tires laying in the pits.
That's bad news.
Casey Mears has gone to the garage. They're putting the hood up on his car.
Notice how far away from that wall they were on fresh tires. Don't even get close.
It don't take
about 5 laps.
Exactly.
Jeff Green and Jimmy Spencer.
Battle for 5th.
Spencer needed that caution because he used his stuff up. I tell you, he was starting to slide back a little bit. He seems to be awfully good on new tires.
But this was the third caution and their second set of tires for those that got them.
They have one more shot under caution.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, listen, and we got a long way to go, and you know there's going to be some more cautions. So tire management is going to be the key here at the end of the day.
You know, here we're riding with Greg Biffle in the 60 car. I talked to Randy Goss, his crew chief, this morning. They had a fast race car yesterday on long runs in happy hour. But Randy Goss told me my biggest concern is keeping Greg Biffle to where he's, you know, he's under control for 147 laps. Matt Yoka.
And Larry, that number 60 car was also one of the best cars at the end of that last run. Well, let's check in with Randy. What'd you guys do to your race car to that caution, Randy?
Well, first stop, we put our spring rubber in the right rear. We're trying to do our major stuff that slows us down in the pits early so we can maybe have a good stop when it counts.
Are you looking at this as 2 40-lap runs to the finish?
I couldn't hear you, but...
Are you looking at this as 2 40-lap runs to the finish?
2 40-lap runs to the finish, yeah. We're just trying to be disciplined enough and have enough respect for this track to get a good finish out of it.
Well, they're also thinking about points, Steve Burns, because they mentioned that the only worry that we have is in our mirror, and that's the 21 car, and he'll be up on the wheel, and he's not racing for points. We are.
Well, Matt, Jeff Green was going to make a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. The team got it half right. This is the tool they set in the hole to make the track bar adjustment, but they never turned it. So all Jeff Green got was an air pressure adjustment. Dick Berggren.
We have just hit the halfway point, but we've already used up 2/3 of the tires the teams are allowed under caution. They can still take fresh tires under the green flag, however. One more ingredient into the mix. The sky has become overcast. Rain in the forecast. Who knows if this thing's going to go all the way? Mike?
Oh, this will go all the way. I can't wait to see what happens after they run out of tires.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, all we talk about is how much you got to have tires. What's going to happen if you don't have any tires?
Just a second ago, we saw the tire man. I think that was for Jason Keller. What he was doing, he was measuring how much of the tire was worn. You don't really wear the tire out here. You just lose grip. There he is. It has little holes there, and what you do, you check it when it's new, and normally it has about 3/30 seconds of rubber, and after you've run it, you measure it again, and it'll tell you basically if the right front's wearing more than the right rear, the car's pushing, not turning. You're wearing the right front. Vice versa, if it's wearing the right rear out, the car's loose. But it tells you a lot about the handling characteristics, but the problem's not wearing them out, it's just the give up. They lose grip.
Yeah, and the other thing you can see there, too, is with your camber, you have to have too much camber. Not a whole lot you can do about it because that's kind of set before the race starts.
But you learn for the future.
But you can learn for the future, and you might make your air pressure adjustment that could help that.
Well, Jeff Burton is trying to change this statistic. No driver who has led it halfway has ended up in victory lane this season. But Jeff Burton so far has led every one of the 76 laps. Good race for fourth. Kenny Wallace, Jimmy Spencer.
This one I'd be going to tell my crew chief, run tell NASCAR they need to let us have another set of tires.
Clear behind them. In their room behind them.
Kenny Wallace in the 48, he didn't battle him at all, but he's going to lose another position here to 21. Jeff Green.
Oh, you hear Kenny just can't get back in that throttle.
That's triple dipping. That's not double dipping.
Just not enough forward bite. Just can't get the gas pedal down.
You want to go to it, you need to go to it, but you can't go to it.
You got to keep trying. You got to keep goosing it like that. She'll bite. Somewhere along the way, she'll bite. You know? That's where it takes a lot of finesse. So, not just jumping in that.
Oh, trouble! Turn 2. One car got into the wall, slowed dramatically, yes,
car.
and got pile driven by a car coming fast on the outside.
Yeah, he's Brian Vickers in the 40 car.
He's still going fast.
And he has no brakes. He's knocked the brake line off, and he's going to have to keep going around. It don't look like he's going to come to pit road this time. No. Way too fast for his crew ever to stop him.
Foyt bounced off the outside wall, and Vickers had nowhere to go.
Oh, man, he just knocked the fire out of the wall again. Down here, coming off of turn 4, he just turned dead. Look at that thing. That thing just took a dead left or right into the wall.
You see how much the right front tire's turned in right there. I would say what he's got, the tie rod or the drag link's bent or broke, and he had no control.
He was just coming around the turn there, and all of a sudden that thing just goes dead left on him.
Oh,
watch this. Here he comes. Here he comes. Man, it's like I don't know if that maybe that hood being up in front of him. Maybe he thought he was at the pit road entrance because look how he just turned.
Yeah, the right front tire was not towed in that bad until he hit the wall.
There's Larry Foyt moving around in his car, which is a good sign.
When the net's down, that's
okay.
even a better sign.
Yes. Now watch Foyt come up off the corner and
got in the fence.
Yeah, he was already in the fence. Caught it, and it just arrested his forward motion, and poor Brian Vickers had nowhere to go.
Ran out of racetrack.
So we're under caution for the 4th time. Jeff Burton has led every lap here at the track that has definitely proven it is too tough to tame.
Randy LaJoy.
Jeff Green's the other one. I don't know.
What do you think, folks?
Sure, Randy LaJoy's one of them.
Ka-ching.
Ah, I got one of them.
Jacking. Get a half a ka-ching.
Yeah.
And Jack Ingram.
Iron Man Jack.
The Iron Man, yep. Both drivers, by the way, are okay. Both Brian Vickers and Larry Foyt are okay after that crash. We'll be right back.
And welcome back live at Darlington in our Busch Series race, 4th caution. Jeff Burton has led all the way. Roush cars have won 4 of the last 5 Darlington Busch Series races. Jeff Burton hoping to add to that in the Hollywood Hotel. As there's a look at Jeff Burton. We're with Jimmie Johnson, and the story is that Jeff Gordon watched you drive here at Darlington, and he said that guy can drive, and that was one of the first conversations you ever had with Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, it was one of the first times I'd spoken with him, and my first time here to this track, and I was in amazement of driving pavement around here and how tight and narrow it is and how slippery it is. And you saw me sliding around, and that was the start of our relationship. And I think you're seeing experience play out today, and I'm sure it'll play out again tomorrow. But I think that's why these Roush cars win here all the time, because it's the guy behind the wheel.
Yeah, and 4 Busch races for you at Darlington. The best finish was 16th. And Rick Hendrick, by the way, picked Jeff Gordon the same way when he watched him race in Atlanta. And Jeff Hammond, quickly, what have we seen so far with where people are racing and how they're not avoiding the wall?
Well, experience is showing through with Jeff Burton, and at the same time, we've seen that the lady in black will take her toll on a lot of these guys.
All right, getting ready for the restart. Let's go back upstairs. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip.
Casey Mears will be back in the race. They had a battery problem, replaced it. And though he's many laps down, there are 6 cars in the garage area. He'll get to move up. Green flag, Jeff Burton, Jason Keller, just about like we left them. Then it's Biffle, Spencer, Kenny Wallace, Jeff Green, Stacy Compton, and Mike McLaughlin.
Since we only have 2 cars, it's a lap down. No one elected to get up there and try to get their lap back, so the leaders didn't have to contend with lap cars on this restart. Boy, Spencer got a run off turn 2 on Biffle that last time through there.
Spencer's really good on the restarts. His car's good on the fresh tires. Looks like it falls off a little bit after they run a while, but boy, he's pretty quick there for the first several laps.
Law of physics just about took over, though. He fell off into turn 3. Almost didn't come out the other end.
Burton, your leader. Keller second. Let's go to his pit. Dick Burton.
Jason Keller has run second all day. His crew chief is Steve Addington. You guys have had a good look at Jeff Burton. How can you beat him?
Well, Jason said he's pretty stout, and we got to look at the big picture. We're not working, we're not working to beat Jeff Burton here at Darlington. He's tough. We're not giving up. We're going to keep working on this Albertsons Ford. We'll try to beat him before the end of the race, though, but we got to look what's behind us.
Okay, to Matty.
Well, Dick, on that restart, Kenny Wallace dropped 1 spot back to 6. Bobby, how's your race car now?
Pretty good right now. We're a little bit of track change there. Stacker 2 cars doing real good. The Monte Carlo's doing great. Kenny Wallace is doing a real good job for us. We plan on next stop just tightening up a little bit. We think we'll be in real good condition for the win.
Well, he's currently riding in the 6th position.
You have 2 races going on here. You have fellas like Jeff Burton and Jimmy Spencer who are here to win and let the rest of the chips fall where they may. You have Jason Keller who's trying to win a championship right in between them.
And you got to give that guy in 59 a call too, Stacy Compton. I mean, he's been giving that car, Larry, every week a whale of a ride in this Busch Series. Doing a great job, and he's running there in what, 7th place.
And he's one of those double dippers. He'll be in the Winston Cup race tomorrow.
I think if you notice, most of the guys at the front of the field have prior experience here.
Scott Riggs, who started up front, who struggled a bit with a loose race car, and Kevin Grubb right with him. Remember, Grubb stopped at turn 2 on the parade lap, had to start tailing Charlie. Ooh, little wisp of smoke there as he goes in the corner, but he's climbed up to 16th.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't even look like he was going to get to take the green flag. He stayed on the lead lap, and he's just showing some patience. And here with about 60-something laps to go, he's still right there with these guys. We heard him talking about the track change, and these clouds have moved in. When this race started, the track temperature was 105 degrees. It's cooling down. It's a little under 100 degrees now. So that's definitely the biggest thing it'll give the cars is more grip. The track's cooling down, but we'll definitely change the handling characteristics.
Oh yeah, if you're loose, it could help you because it'll tighten the track up just a little bit.
Scott Riggs needs a cooler track.
He needs to get real cloudy.
Casey Mears has gone back to the garage. There are your bushwhackers, your drivers who run occasionally in the Busch Series.
And out of all of those, except for Stacy Compton, they'll be with us at Bristol next week. They'll be with us in Texas in 3 weeks. Then, when the Busch cars are in Nashville and we're in Martinsville with the Winston Cup cars, the only one that'll be trying to do both races will be Stacy Compton.
So I guess he's not really a bushwhacker since he's a Busch regular and he's a Cup regular.
Just like
we're going to need a new term because he is concerned about points.
Maybe he's a double dipper.
Oh, at least. Scott Wimmer's going to pit. He's been operating at kind of reduced speed over the last couple of laps. He's gone 2 laps down, and we're going to try to adjust on his Pontiac.
Lose a lot of time on this pit road, 45 miles an hour on the green. Scott came in here 10th in points, so he's going to take a hit today.
Speaking of hits, Larry Foyt and Brian Vickers have both been released from the infield care center. They're both okay. Good news.
Put up on the 23. He got a motor problem there.
Spencer continues to hold off Greg Biffle and Jeff Green, but they are losing touch with the leaders.
They're almost 4 seconds behind Jeff Burton and Jason Keller.
Jeff Burton with a 1.2-second lead on Keller. We'll be right back to Darlington after this. Wow, Greg Biffle and Jimmy Spencer have been keeping close company.
Well, I'm telling you what, a couple of Cowboys here.
97 complete in the DarlingtonRaceway.com 200.
Hammond ought to be getting all excited about this. The Cowboys trying to ride a couple of Bronco mules here.
It's over in turn 4, coming on the front straightaway. You're sliding around. It don't take much to get you out of shape here.
That's a great job of driving on Jimmy's part. No harm, no foul. That's just kind of Darlington.
So there's Spencer with Jeff Green. Now that's back at 4th place. Jimmy Johnson, any of this look familiar to you?
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Spencer's one of the most competitive guys out there. And in the Busch Series, I've had, like you saw there, he just fights so hard to hold position and fights for wins every race. It's a little bit frustrating at times, but you know it's Jimmy. He's going to race really hard and clean. And I got a lot of respect, or earned some respect from him in Las Vegas. He came to me after the Winston Cup race there and said, boy, I had a lot of fun racing with you and look forward to doing it again in the future. So to have him come and say that to me meant a lot to me.
Jimmy really enjoys, I mean, he just loves getting behind the wheel and mixing it up.
No, he'll get mad at you if you don't race him hard.
Yeah.
Because he's one of those kind of guys, you hit me once, I'm going to hit you twice. And it's okay if you want to hit me back.
All right, let's check with Steve.
Mike, we've caught up with Larry Foyt. Larry, a lot of damage to the car. Are you okay? And what happened?
Yeah, I'm okay. We took a pretty good lick there. Unfortunately, we had to change a motor in the Harris car yesterday. We had engine trouble, and we had to start in the back. We were just really hustling to get up through. And darn our luck here. We got a flat tire early, had to pit under green, put us down 2 laps, and then I felt something break in the front end through 1 and 2, and I tried to bring it down, and it just went straight, and it was a pretty good hit. So it was a shame. We'll be back in Bristol.
Glad you're okay. We'll see you next week.
Lady Luck has been riding with Jeff Burton. He has led every lap, 47 to go. Here Kevin Grubb's going to the garage area, joining a long list. Mike Harmon, Brian Vickers, Larry Foyt out of the race, along with Casey Mears, Dwayne Like, Lyndon Amick, Brad Teague, and Joe Buford.
If you want to know what cruise control looks like on a race car, watch old Pork Chop, because I believe he's on cruise. I think he's on cruise control.
Darrell, probably everybody wasn't watching last week or 2 weeks ago when you nicknamed that car. Well, you better explain yourself.
I told Burton, I said, that's the ugliest paint job I think I've ever seen on a race car. I told him, I said, you'd have to tie a pork chop on that thing to get a dog to chase it.
She has been a beauty at Las Vegas and been a beauty here today, that's for sure.
The more I watch it, the more I like it.
All right, Dick Berggren.
Do I really have to follow Darrell Waltrip on that one? The pork chop.
I'm afraid so.
Conversation this morning with the 9 crew. What they were talking about with the car was it's gone loose tight since they got here. And what they wound up doing was throwing a setup in the car that was fast, but not especially comfortable. So what Burton has done is just grit his teeth and hang on to that thing all day. It is not easy to drive the car. It just looks that way.
You know, we need to also document that a couple of races ago, Brad Parrott, who is Todd Parrott's brother, went over there. He used to be the car chief on the 88 car. He's went over there and kind of taken the crew chief duties, and I think that's added to this race team. Here's a guy as well, Mike McLaughlin, in the 18 car. Not quite the season that he'd like to have. Only has a 5th place finish at Rockingham, but he had 2 top 5s here last year. A 5th at Rockingham this year. It's like this type of racetrack suits his style as well. He's up there in the 8th position.
Tony Raines battling him hard for it. Now they are running about 10 seconds behind Jeff Burton, who has a 2.8-second lead on Jason Keller. Then it's Biffle, Spencer, and Jeff Green, the top 5 here at Darlington. Jason Keller within striking distance, and Greg Biffle right now the quickest car on the racetrack. Sunday, March 31st, FX presents an original movie, Big Shot, Confessions of a Campus Bookie, based on the true story of the college basketball point-shaving scandal that shocked the nation. That's March 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, here on FX. The car involved in Larry Foyt with that scary crash coming out of turn 2. Brian Vickers has been released. He's okay. Steve's with him.
Yeah, Mike, and we just walked by his race car. There's a lot of damage. Brian, what happened, and are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just hate it for EMP and the Army and the whole team and all the sponsors. We had a really good car. We had some problems in the qualifying. We got them fixed. We were coming to the front. And Larry, I think he said something broke on his car, and he hit the wall and just come to a complete stop. And I was right behind him and got into him. It broke the steering, the brakes, and even the transmission. I had no way to slow the car down. Went around, hit the inside wall, and hit pretty hard.
Glad you're okay, Brian.
Thanks.
Well, it's scary enough to race here when you have steering and brakes.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh.
I don't know about that Shield guy, you know, we keep talking about, but I know where Pounder could get him a job.
Right here.
I tell you, Greg Biffle in this 60 car, I've been watching him for about the last 10 laps. He has found a groove, and he's really going through the center of the corner. And on the exit of the corner, he ran Jason Keller down, passed him for second, and he's been about 2 to 3 tenths quicker than even our race leader, Jeff Burton. I'm just not sure there would be enough laps to get there, though. He's about 3 3/4 seconds behind Jeff Burton right now.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out for him. Plus, there's some cars between he and Burton, so you're probably right. But that's assuming we don't have us another big caution flag here before this thing ends.
36 laps to go. Burton, Biffle, then Keller. The orange car is Spencer, and then Jeff Green and Stacy Compton right with them.
This is the part of the race where you kind of, you know, get right to the very tail end of the race, and then you have a caution. Because the position becomes, everybody starts trying to gain that other position, forcing the issue, get in trouble.
Start getting antsy about the end of the race coming.
Well, when you're by yourself, your crew will tell you you're much faster than those guys in front of you, but then you catch them and you can't get around them.
We just heard Stacy Compton in the 59 tell his crew chief he's in the 6th position, way loose off. This is, you know, we're about 50 laps into this set of tires right here. This is where it starts happening.
But I tell you, he's been mowing them down. He's come from he was running about 9th, and he's up to 6th place there. So he's better than the other guys around him.
Got a little piece of the rock there, didn't he?
He's pushing it right now. He's better than these guys in front of him. Ooh, he got quite a lot of damage on that right rear.
About 10 laps, Darrell. Is that when you start saying, boy, I hope there comes a caution so we can get tires? I hope it's not us.
Mike, it's like, and Larry knows, it's like you flip a switch. You're going along, the car's pretty good. I'm not too bad. A little loose, a little this, a little that. All of a sudden, you start screaming, I think I got a flat tire.
I know you don't want to hear what I'm fixing to say, but I've been here figure. So I'm going to have to go to my crew chief buddy down there in the Hollywood Hotel.
Yeah,
Jeff Hammond, these guys were on pit road at lap 65. We went back racing at lap 69. That's 78 laps to go. This race right now has a green flag flavor. A lot of the guys this morning told me they could only run about 70 to 75 laps on fuel.
Wow, wouldn't there be somebody had to make a green flag stop? Now that would, wow. And there's a lot, is everybody in the same boat, Larry?
Absolutely. The one thing you don't need to forget about right now is the guy that's leading this race, Jack Roush, owns this car, and he is a master at squeezing gas out of these cars. So if there's a car out there right now that I want to put money on, the 2 cars up front of Burton and Biffle, they'll be tough, and they may try to go the distance.
And we're seeing them start to slow down, so that strategy could be going into play right now as we speak.
Jeff's going out on a limb. We're going to hand him a saw when we come back. The 16th place car of Kevin LePage is the first to pit under green. A little shy on gas, but Larry gets he needed those tires.
Yeah, and you know, right now, Darrell, Jeff Burton, he's having to work a lot of traffic. He just passed Jamie McMurray. That's the 20th place car, so now we have 19 cars on the lead lap, and that's a problem.
Yeah, working the traffic can, man, a big lead can evaporate just in 2 or 3 laps if you get hung up in traffic. But Burton is so dadgum good that he can go high and go low. He's been able to work his way through this bunch of cars, and he's maintained a pretty good lead.
Well, let's see how far Hammond is out on that limb. Dick Berggren, are they going to try to go all the way?
Well, I'm going to ask Brad Parrott that question. Everybody's going to follow you. How far are you going to go? What you going to do with strategy here, Brad?
I'm going all the way. I come here to win. We're going all the way.
All right, good luck. Matty.
Dick, let's talk to his counterpart down here in the 60 pit. Randy Goss is the crew chief for Biffle. Brad Parrott says he's going all the way. What about you, Goss?
I couldn't hear you, but I'm thinking the question is, can you make it? And I'm pretty sure we can. We're real close, so those yellows helped us out.
Well, they started fifth, ended today 50 points. have got their eye on the short-term picture and one eye on the long-term picture, the points championship.
Well, the big picture for the 9 car, they have no big picture. Their big picture is the race. They're not running for points. Greg Biffle, though, they are. But we saw last year several races where we didn't think Greg Biffle could make it on fuel mileage. He proved me and Hammond wrong.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to include you on that.
Thank you very much. I'm betting on the 60 car.
Well, now, how about the third place car of Jason Keller, Dick?
Clear.
What do for strategy?
Staying green. We're staying out.
Is it enough gas, or is this a risk?
It's going to be close. It's going to be real close.
All right. He's going to give it a shot. Sounds like everybody is.
I love suspenseful endings. And we're going to have one.
Whoa, man. The 5 car got in the back of 10 off of 4 there and turned him. I saw his numbers. That's why.
That's the only thing that would take that suspenseful ending out of it is a yellow flag from the flag stand. But, you know, these guys figure their fuel mileage on Saturday or Friday, their last practice, on 20, 30-lap runs. When you get into 50 and 60-lap runs, the pace slows down. When you're slower, you're not using as much fuel.
The reason that the 5 car got into the 10 car, Larry, is because the leader is right behind them, getting ready to put them a lap down, and 5 car was trying to stay in front of the leader.
And now this is a difference, Darrell, that will help Greg Biffle, is all these fellas are going to race Jeff Burton real hard to try to stay on the lap, but will they battle Biffle as hard when he gets to them?
No, I mean, the damage is done. They're a lap down, so when Biffle gets up there, more likely he'll just pick his way right by them.
In lap cars, they can knock half, 3/4 of a second out of your lap time here.
Ken Alexander, as you can see, smoking profusely. Looks like a tire down.
Yeah,
looks like everything
got a right
down.
front tire down.
Coming onto pit road.
I would just guess that he probably rubbed the wall.
I think the 10 car is in trouble. Scott Riggs, maybe after that bump, he's come down to pit road. Steve?
Hey, Mike, talking to Johnny Allen and the crew of the 1 team to see if Jimmy Spencer can make it. I'm not really getting any straight answers. There's a lot of wincing and holding fingers closer together, so they're not really sure if they can make it, but they're talking it over right now.
Jimmy Spencer's a lot like Jeff Burton. Big pictures the race today. They're not running for points, so you don't want to come to pit road under green with 4 or 5 laps to go at the end. Don't pay any prestige to finish 15.
Besides that, it's not good TV. We need that suspense, you know.
Scott Riggs is in the 9th place point man, and he has wiped the Ness and the Quick off the right side of his car.
I didn't know if they could get the tires off the right side of it or not. He had the sheet metal beat down over him so bad. And he's away.
20 laps to go.
Michael Waltrip, the 99, is the 16th place car. Jeff Burton looking to put him a lap down.
And he's been holding the leader up there pretty good for a pretty good while now.
That'll play into Greg Biffle's hands. 20 laps to go at Darlington. Well, so much for suspense. Caution is out here for the 5th time. Randy LaJoie bounced off the wall in 4, came down to turn 1 with a flat right front, hit it a ton. That knocked the fuel pump off the car and has brought out the caution. Matt?
Well, Mike, down here in the 60 pit, they already made a track bar adjustment for Greg Biffle, so the car was still just a little bit loose today.
Well, Jeff Burton has slid his car to a perfect stop. Realize this isn't just car, this is also crew. Every pit stop so far, his pit crew has put him out ahead of everybody else. Todd Ziegler on the front, Dennis Terry on the rear tires, and guess what? He's going to be first on the racetrack again.
Burton has led every single lap of this race. Matt?
Mike, one reason why the 9 car beat the 60 off pit road, a lug fell off when they put the tire up on the hub. One of the lugs fell off. They lost some time.
So let's show you what put us under this 5th caution of the day. Hank Parker Jr. up against LaJoie. There's the first hit.
Yeah, and he got back, when he went back into the wall, he cut the right front down. Got him a little loose, corrected, thing shot into the outside wall with the right front, cut the tire down, and
there's the real problem right there.
Randy radioed the crew, said that knocked the fuel pump off it, so the car rolled to a stop. Wow.
He was running in the 11th position.
Tried to get out of the way, and I heard him say, you know, limp it on in.
So caution is out for the 5th time. Fuel mileage is no longer a concern. We'll be back for the restart and the run to the checkered flag here at Darlington. Darlington, where we're getting set for the restart. Winston Cup practice follows our race today right here on FX. and tomorrow. Get your motor running with NASCAR this morning on Fox Sports Net. Then the Winston Cup race on Fox. Victory Lane All Access Johnny Benson on the net tomorrow night.
Ready, green. This is where it's all out the window. 13 laps to go. No tire conservation now. Get what you can get.
Trouble. A little casual contact as put Ashton Lewis down to the apron.
Listen, I can't tell you how many almost wrecks we've had today.
Yes.
Lots of them.
Jeff Burton is trying to become the first driver since this became the NASCAR Busch Series in '82 to lead every lap of the race on a super speedway. 6 times it's been done on a short track.
Well, Spencer's going to be, I'll tell you, he's going to be Greg Biffle's thorn in
His
the side.
car has been good on short runs, and that's what we have here now. 12 laps to go.
Spencer can get up there and race Biffle, and that's going to allow Jeff to pull away.
Jeff Green clears the lap car of Michael Waltrip, so now you have the front 4 single file.
I believe Jeff Burton in that 9, he just runs that car as hard as he needs to.
Cruise. Stacy Compton went in the pits 5th, but lost a lug nut on the right rear that fell off, and he came out of the pits about 13th.
Boy, that's a shame.
Jason Keller was a real loser. He came in 3rd. He went out 6th. That pretty much took him out of contention for the win anyhow.
Yeah, Stacy was running 5th when the caution came out.
For more, here's Steve.
Hey, Larry, same problem on the 57. A lug nut fell off the left front tire, the left front wheel, rather, on the 57. That's the problem.
That just, you know, while you're chasing lug nuts, trying to get them back on there, you can't leave unless they're all on there. That clock's going tick, 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 just like on the racetrack.
Always on the last stop.
Yep.
you know, everybody's trying to do the best they can, the fastest they can. Sometimes
Spencer's in trouble. The one car's in trouble.
Oh, what a shame.
I wasn't sure what was going on. I saw him drop to the bottom of the front straightaway there, but he's in trouble, and he'll probably just go straight to the hauler. Yeah, he's went on to the back pit road there, which is where the Winston Cup or the Busch garage is.
Good job, Jimmy.
Shame for Spencer. That's 2 races this year where he's been very competitive up the front and had trouble late in the race.
Daytona be another one.
Had a good battle here for 4th, and again, Kenny Wallace did the right thing. Slow down and let Jason get in front of him as they go into turn 1. Just can't race in there side by side.
Jason's going to run out of time.
You can race in there side by side, Mike, Larry, but you slow each other down so much if you make it.
Boy, I know we're not on it right now, but Greg Biffle, he just drove it into turn 3. He almost didn't come out the other end.
Stacy Compton battling Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25.
Well, Stacy's got a really, really good race car, but trying to work through this traffic is going to be tough.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
He's had a good race car all day. Spotter just cheering him on.
Jimmy Spencer out with rear end trouble. And Randy LaJoy has been released from the infield care center. He is okay. It'll be a good day for Ford. They own 3 of the top 4 positions right now.
7 to go. Plus 1.1.
Well, Jeff Hammond, as Kim Burton looks on, Jeff has led every single lap, and I guess we didn't have to see if that strategy played out on going all the distance.
No, we didn't, Mike. Bringing back what Dick Berger talked about earlier, I talked to Jeff Burton earlier this morning. He said, to sit up underneath this car, man, I got to get up on the wheel and drive it all day. Well, you know, he has driven that car and driven the wheels up it all day, hasn't he, Jimmy?
Oh, I think so, and I think experience is showing through, and I hate to admit it, because DW has given me a hard time last night about the experience side of it, but experience is paying off, and Jeff Burton knows how to get around here.
The attrition has been really high. There are 18 cars behind the wall.
The lady in black. She may get you with the wall, she may get you with under the hood.
And Jimmy, I know you're down there.
5 to go when you get
Mark
back.
tomorrow, you get behind one of them old veterans and follow him all day and get you a good finish tomorrow.
You got it.
Greg Biffle, 0.8 of a second back. Matt.
Well, Mike, an interesting comment from the cockpit of the 60 car. Biffle came on the radio as he came down the front stretch and said, I'm going to get him, Goss. I'm going to get him. Just hopefully he has enough time.
Well, he might get to him, but as we've seen, passing here is not that easy.
And he's put enough distance on the 3rd place car, Jeff Green. You know, he can play around a little bit. I mean, he can't get up there and let that wall bite him, but he can move that car around just to see. And where he really makes a lot of ground up is getting into turn 3.
Yeah, but that is so dangerous. You drive it in that hard, it goes right up there. Man, it wants to kiss that wall.
You were playing with the lady.
Ooh, baby. He's gaining on him, but I'll tell you, he's driving the wheels off of it.
Just don't want to get in trouble here at the end of the race. Now that slow car is going to help him a lot right here. That slowed Burton down. Biffle should gain a little ground there.
Biffle trying to be the first driver to win 2 races in a row, starting on the pole in both since Tommy Houston did it in 1986 in Hickory and Orange County.
Boys, it ain't over with yet. There'll be 3 to go this time. Biffle just drives that car down into turn 3. It sticks, and that's where he makes so much ground up. There you see, a mile an hour faster that last lap.
If he can keep it off the wall, he might have a shot at him.
We got 1 more lap car up there. I don't know if he'll be a factor. He's pulled it to about 3 car lengths, 2.5 laps to go.
Jason Keller, fastest car on the track, but well back after that pit miscue. He's 4th behind Jeff Green. Here they come, and Biffle is there.
1 car length away. There's a lap car up in front of him. 2 to go.
That lap car could cause Biffle could cause Burton a problem. No, he pulled down, let him go. Good move.
Dan Partis.
Good move.
Clean racetrack now.
Biffle's good in 3 and 4, but over here is where he gets to lose a little bit of time off that corner. He gets a little too high.
He lost a little momentum right there. Had to jump back out of that throttle. Let's watch him in turn 3.
Down here's where he makes the move. Here's where he really goes.
There he goes. He's there, boys. Oh, he lost a little bit coming off the corner there.
He's all right.
Here's the bell lap. White flag.
If he could get off of turn 2 with Burton, if he can get off of that corner, he might have a shot at him going into 3. That's the only chance he got. Cut it down. If he could just get it down right there, but it won't stay down
It just won't stay. Lost a little bit right there. Let's watch turn 3. That's where it's been. Burton pulls him a little bit down the backstretch.
Well, he's going to drive in there, and he's going to be right on his back bumper, but I don't think he's got enough steam to pass him.
He drove it there. It stuck, but Burton got back to that throttle.
Turn 2 is just really hurting him.
Jeff Burton, 2 straight from the pole. And 3rd place, close as well, coming to the stripe. Jeff Green holds off Jason Keller. Kenny Wallace, 5th. Mike McLaughlin. Tony Raines, Todd Bodine, Jack Sprague, Stacy Compton, the top 10. Jeff Burton, 2 in a row from the pole, leads every lap. We'll be right back. Scored its 6th victory in a row at Darlington, and it's Jeff Burton's 2nd consecutive win here, his 3rd in 19 races. Steve?
Well, with crew chief Brad Parrott, Brad, how special is it to win here at Darlington and on your wedding anniversary?
It's pretty special. I can't thank enough of Jack Roush and Jeff Burton and the whole Gain team. What an awesome crew. The pit stops were unbelievable today. The race car was second to none, and you know, it is my 6th anniversary, and I'm happy. And it's been coming to Darlington for a long time, and winning a Busch race here is just as good as winning a Winston Cup race, I believe.
Congratulations, Brad. Let's go to Dick Berger. And Dick, by the way, they've changed the name of this car from Pork Chop to Sherwin.
They probably ought to change it to dollars at the rate this thing has been running. Jeff Burton congratulating his crew as they congratulate him. Yeah, don't damage that roof no matter what you do. Hey, as these things go, that looked pretty easy, was it?
They're never easy. Just an awesome car. You know, these guys are just so good, and they make my job look easy. Greg was better than we were at the end. We got real tight. For some reason, we just got tight there at the end, and he was coming. That wasn't a show. He was coming.
Who set this thing up? Is this you or is this Brad that set it up?
Well, all the credit goes to these guys. I tell them what it's doing, and they take care of it. They're just so, they're just so good. They're paying attention to everything. Paying attention to all the details, getting all the little stuff right. And just want to say, Sherman, this one's for you, bud. It's been a long week for him, and just proud of these guys, man. It's just an awesome effort, and real proud of the restructuring we did with the team. And 2 poles and 2 wins, man. I don't know what to think. It's been great.
And hey, what? You got another race tomorrow? Another win tomorrow?
Well, I never say anything about how we're going to do. I promise you we're going to put as much effort in as anybody, but I'm not going to promise results. I learned a long time ago not to do that.
All right, congratulations to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Dick, the second half of that great finishing part of that show was Greg Biffle, and Cowboy came on the radio. As Brad Parrott comes in, they throw water. Cowboy came on the radio and said, all right, time to go, but he should have told you 2 laps earlier.
Yeah, he told me we weren't going to race till 20 laps to go, and I was running it pretty hard and just feeling the car out on low tire pressures, and my car was picking up, and I asked Cowboy, I said, is it time to go? And that was 8 laps to go, and I was doing all I could, and I needed to build some pressure up before I could lean on it really hard, and just a couple more laps I'd have had him. That was our strategy. Our car was pretty good all day. Had to let those guys go, and I really learned a lot of discipline today. Everybody I let go that was fast to run into the wall in 2 laps later, so I think we really learned a lot here today, and I think it's going to pay off for us in the future.
And that was a major goal today going in, that Randy wanted you to drive a very smart race.
Yeah, that was. And tire conservation here at Darlington is the key, and that's what we did today. And I'd like to say hello to everybody back home.
You started 5th and 2nd here at Darlington today. Mike?
And Greg Biffle is the only one of the young guns to finish in the top 10. We'll show you that entire finishing order when we come back as Jeff Burton is honored in Victory Lane at Darlington.
Look at the 9th place finisher, Jack Sprague. Came in here, the points leader, started 27th, was all the way back at 30th. You got to give this call to his crew that fixed that front end and came back to finish 9th.
A lot of guys slipped up there in the top 10 there at the end. Tony Raines, Todd Bodine, and Stacy Compton fought his way back to 10th after that bad pit stop.
Johnny Sauter, the highest rookie, was 11th.
Hey, Hornaday, 15th.
Yep. Randy LaJoy had a good car, ends up 27th, came in here 2nd points. That probably slipped today.
Hey, Bradshaw, your boy finished 18th today.
Yeah, big attrition, though, Darrell. It set a new record for cars not running at the end of this race. Can't wait till tomorrow. My gosh, in the Winston Cup race here, but let's get down to Steve Burns.
Twice as much fun.
All right, thanks, Mike. We've caught up with Jeff Green. Jeff, you fought a loose race car, but you fought her home to a top 3 finish.
Yeah, that's a good day for our Rockwell Chevy. I said Chevy. Those other guys, I think, got a little bit more body than we got, a little bit more downforce. In the Darlington, you know, it's everything. More you can push down on those tires, the better you're going to go around the racetrack. But, you know, my hat's off to Jeff. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's great. He's awesome at this place. So just so you keep him in sight, you're going to have a good finish, and we did that today. We had some mistakes on the pit stops, and, you know, we just didn't get the car just like I needed to get up there with him.
Good luck tomorrow, Jeff. Let's check with my buddy, Matt Yoakum.
Well, Steve, the fans still going wild for Kenny Wallace's 5th place finish. Not a bad day.
No, you know, I mean, what do? You're a Wallace and you want to win all the time, right? I make sure people understand that I'm not happy with 5th, you know, but still, all in all, this series is really tough. And, you know, it's a brand new team, Stacker 2 Chevrolet. Same car owner, but all new guys, so I'm really proud of my pit stops today. They gave me great stops. But, you know, Darlington's a fun place to run. You get in some rhythm, but still didn't have enough to win. The car was too tight all day long, and I'm not so sure that it was chassis. I kind of think it was aero. But, hey, Ford had a great day, 1, 2, 3 there. I mean, if Jason Keller wouldn't have had a bad pit stop, it'd have been, you know, those 3 guys up there. But Chevrolet followed up at least 4th and 5th, and I was happy that we had a good enough car to do that.
Now, you're not politicking, are you?
Yes, I'm a great politicker, but I did it real nice. What I did is I just kind of came in the back way, you know what I mean? Instead of going, I'm mad, my car don't run. But, no, really, it was a good day. It really was. I can't ask for much more than that. I mean, new crew chief, all new guys. So, I mean, Jeff Burton went through it last year with the Busch Grand National team. He's got a great team this year, and he's back. I think he's batting 100, right? He's won everything he's been in, so he's tough to beat anytime he shows up.
Kenny Wallace scores his best finish of the season of 5th here at Darlington. Steve?
Well, thanks, Matt. Jason Keller trying to win that first Busch Series title. If you hadn't had a little bit of a problem on that last stop, could you have gotten to Jeff Burton, Jason?
Oh, no, I tried all race long, but the Albertsons Ford ran really good all day, and just missed it. I was a little bit disappointed in myself because I couldn't really read the car, and I kind of sent the crew in the wrong direction. But, you know, we need to fine-tune a little bit on me reading the car and the pit crews and things like that. But all in all, we had a great day. Ran in the top 5 all day long. And, you know, I really, really put a little bit extra effort into this race being from South Carolina. You know, this place is real special to me. But it didn't happen today, but we get to come back here in the fall and do it again.
All right, best of luck, Jason. Let's go to Chris Myers.
All right, thank you very much. And Keller, your leader, finishing 4th in the race today. Jack Sprague falls from 1st to 3rd in the points race, as you see, through 4 of 34 Busch races. And next week, after the weekend off and racing today, next week they'll be busy in Bristol. And for Jeff Burton, who's a big Duke Blue Devil fan, the #1 seed from the pole here with Jeff Hammond and Jimmy Johnson, who watched the race with us from the Hollywood Hotel. Roush Racing, 5 of the last 6 races run at Darlington have been won by a Roush car. So the cat in the hat telling the lady to go tame herself, huh?
He can handle it here, but I tell you right now, the biggest difference right now with when we talk about it, this racetrack, are the drivers. We keep talking about experience, man. You got to have that experience, and Jeff Burton, he knows how to win here. He likes this racetrack. He's got a crew right now that understands what he needs, and he's getting the job done.
What makes me feel good being a rookie is to see that Greg Biffle finished second. So hopefully the rookies, without that experience, is that what you call it?
Yeah, experience,
that
man.
stuff.
Experience.
Hopefully we'll stand a chance tomorrow here in this Cup race.
Right. The proper word is experience, but Darrell Waltrip-Ease, it's called experience, and our viewers know that. What I wanted to ask, we were watching the finish with Jeff Burton, of course, leading from wire to wire. It was 2 Roush cars with Greg Biffle behind him. Now, obviously, it's the same team, and each guy's going to run his own race, but how does that affect, and I'll start with you, Jeff, as a crew chief, how does that affect what you're doing or doesn't?
Well, it doesn't, because, as we said earlier, there's Greg Biffle. He had a better race car. Told his guys, hey, I can beat him. I can beat him. Jeff Burton comes back and says, hey, my car wasn't quite as good. So, no, Biffle's not going to back off for Burton. If he can catch him and get by him clean, he's going to. That's the key deal. I'm not going to take my teammate out, but I'm not just going to roll over and play dead because he's Jeff Burton.
All right, but Jimmy, what about a guy who's one guy maybe thinking points, one guy going for the trophy, or just wants to win?
Oh, I'll put it here. Would you pull over for your team out?
No way.
All right.
No way. No way.
But that's Jeff Gordon's your teammate.
That's okay. We're both out there for trophies, and those teams work so hard in the shop. Doesn't matter who you work for, what team you're on. They're working as hard as they can, and you want trophies. And Greg Biffle gave it a heck of a run. It was neat to see him come that close, and almost got Burton here at his home track, it seems like.
That's all about. Real quick, what did you see today watching this race that you'll use tomorrow here at Darlington?
The track is very slippery, and it looks like maybe the bottom of 3 and 4 might come in and work a little bit tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Jimmy, for being with us. And don't forget the Carolina Dodge Dealers 400 tomorrow from Darlington. You'll see that live on Fox. Coming up next on FX, you'll see the final hour of Winston Cup practice, the final tuning up as they get ready for Sunday's big day. Dale Jarrett, the defending champ here, and it starts with NASCAR this morning, and then the race itself, and then it all wraps up with NASCAR Victory Lane. Today's race, a terrific race. 18 cars didn't finish for Jeff Burton in his Game 4. Great success. Jeff Burton, of course, didn't need to gain on anybody. Starting out and leading from wire to wire. As we said, 18 cars didn't finish. 7 rookies in this race, 3 former Truck Series champs. But in the end, Jeff Burton coming out on top. Stick around on FX for Winston Cup Racing.